The crystalline chamber of the Galactic Council hummed with a frequency that would have shattered human eardrums, had any humans been permitted entry. Orla stood in the observation deck above, her reflection distorted in the curved transparisteel that separated her from the assembled delegates below. She counted 17 distinct species, each more ancient than humanity's entire recorded history. "They're voting now," Alexander said beside her, his jaw tight. His hand rested on the neural interface port embedded in his temple, a habit he developed during their years in the diplomatic corps. The Vrex delegation just transmitted their assent. Orla watched as the holographic display flickered through languages her optical implants couldn't fully translate. The resolution was clear enough. Humanity's petition for protected trade routes through the Kepler corridor, denied. Their request for representation in the Sub-Council on Emerging Civilizations, denied. Their formal protest against the Zalthine blockade of the Sol System's outer colonies, dismissed as internal regional management. 14 cycles, Orla murmured. 14 cycles of negotiations, and they treat us like children squabbling over toys. Alexander's expression darkened. They don't see us as children, Orla. Children have potential. They see us as insects, briefly amusing, ultimately irrelevant. The Galactic Council had existed for 47,000 years before humanity developed written language. They had brokered peace between empires that spanned multiple galaxies, resolved conflicts involving species whose thought processes operated across temporal dimensions that humans could barely conceptualize. To them, humanity's 300 years of faster-than-light travel was a cosmic eyeblink. "Ambassador Cathrell is approaching," Alexander warned, his neural interface pulsing with incoming data. The Vrex ambassador materialized beside them, not teleportation, but movement so rapid that Orla's enhanced perceptions registered only a blur. Cathrell's 4 eyes regarded them with what the translation algorithms interpreted as mild curiosity. "Humans," Cathrell's translation device rendered the ultrasonic clicks into flat, passionless English. "Your delegation performed adequately. The Council appreciates your enthusiasm." Orla felt Alexander tense beside her. She placed a hand on his arm, a gesture Cathrell's compound eyes would undoubtedly analyze and file away as another quaint human emotional display. "Ambassador," Orla said carefully, "the blockade is strangling 17 million colonists. They have 8 months of supplies remaining. We're requesting humanitarian corridors, nothing more. The Zalthine have filed appropriate territorial claims under the Covenant of Celestial Boundaries, ratified in what you would call 3247 BCE, your calendar. Human settlements in disputed zones lack legal standing." Cathrell's segmented body shifted, a dismissive gesture. "Perhaps in another 1,000 cycles, when humanity has demonstrated sufficient maturity, the Council might revisit your species' petitions." "And if we don't have 1,000 cycles?" Alexander asked, his voice dangerously quiet. Cathrell's translation device emitted what might have been laughter. "Then you will have answered the Galactic Council's primary question about your species, whether humanity possesses the adaptive capacity necessary for long-term survival. The galaxy is patient, Alexander Chen. It has witnessed the extinction of 10,000 civilizations. It will witness 10,000 more." The ambassador departed in another blur of motion, leaving them alone in the observation deck. "They're calling our bluff," Alexander said. "They think we'll capitulate like we always do." Orla stared at the council chamber below, where delegates from species that had mastered antimatter manipulation before Earth's continents had finished forming were already moving on to their next agenda item. To them, humanity's crisis was less significant than a scheduling conflict. "It's not a bluff," Orla said quietly. Alexander turned to her, and she saw her own resolve reflected in his eyes. They had both been present at the classified briefing 3 months ago in a bunker deep beneath Luna's surface, where Fleet Admiral Zhao had unveiled what he called humanity's insurance policy. The Cascade Protocol. "They'll never believe we'd actually do it," Alexander said. Violating the peace accord means complete isolation. Every species in the Council would be authorized to defend against us with extreme prejudice. We'd be declaring war on 47,000 years of galactic civilization. They're already at war with us, Orla replied. They just haven't acknowledged it because, to them, we're too primitive to recognize what warfare looks like at their level. She pulled up the classified files on her neural interface, the data only she and Alexander were authorized to access outside of Earth's strategic command. The blockade isn't about territory. The Zalthine want to study how quickly we collapse under resource pressure. The Vreks have been manipulating our trade negotiations to measure our economic resilience under stress. They're running experiments, Alexander. We're their laboratory animals. If we activate the Cascade Protocol. When we activate it, Orla corrected. Alexander exhaled slowly. When we activate it, there's no going back. Every quantum-entangled device humanity has distributed across Council space over the past 50 years will simultaneously execute the same instruction set. Their communication networks, their navigation systems, their automated defense platforms, all the technology we helpfully provided to demonstrate our eagerness for integration, will experience catastrophic systems failure. Not catastrophic, Orla said. Calculated. We're not trying to kill anyone, we're proving a point. A point that will make us the galaxy's most hated species. Better hated than extinct. The return journey to Earth took 17 days through conventional FTL lanes. Orla spent most of it in her quarters, reviewing the ethical implications of what they were about to recommend. The Cascade Protocol would cripple the Council's infrastructure, not permanently, but long enough to demonstrate that humanity was not as primitive as the elder species assumed. Humans had a gift that 47,000 years of galactic civilization had apparently bred out of most species, adaptability born from desperation. While the Council species had grown complacent, perfecting technologies over millennia, humanity had developed the ability to innovate at terrifying speed. The quantum-entangled devices they distributed weren't just communication tools. They were time bombs of compromised code, hidden beneath layers of functionality that the Council's arrogant assumption of superiority had prevented them from properly auditing. You should see this, Alexander said, appearing at her door. His face was ashen. The holographic feed showed the outer colonies. The Zalthine blockade had intensified. 3 supply ships had been destroyed, their crews, over 700 people, vaporized as a warning about territorial violations. Orla felt something cold settle in her chest. Send the authorization to Strategic Command. Execute the Cascade Protocol in 72 hours. That gives us time to evacuate our people from Council space. The next 3 days passed in a blur of encrypted communications and covert extraction operations. Human diplomats, researchers, and civilians scattered across Council territories received coded instructions. Return to human-controlled space immediately. No explanations given. On the 71st hour, Orla and Alexander stood in Strategic Command's observation center, surrounded by holographic displays showing Council space in real time. All personnel accounted for, Admiral Zhao reported. Cascade Protocol armed and ready for execution on your authorization. Orla thought about the 17 million colonists slowly starving in the outer territories. She thought about Cathrel's dismissive laughter, about 47,000 years of species who had forgotten what it meant to fight for survival. Send one final message to the Galactic Council, she said. Tell them we formally withdraw from the peace accord, effective immediately. Tell them that humanity will defend its territories and its people by any means necessary. Tell them, she paused, choosing her words carefully, that we are not asking for permission anymore. Message sent, the communications officer reported. Execute the Cascade Protocol, Orla ordered. For 3 seconds, nothing happened. Then, across 17,000 star systems, the quantum-entangled devices humanity had seeded throughout Council space activated simultaneously. Communication networks collapsed. Navigation systems recalibrated to random coordinates. Automated defense platforms powered down. The Zalthine blockade fleet found their weapon systems locked in diagnostic loops. The Vrek's administrative networks fragmented into isolated nodes. The Council's Grand Chamber on Thyaxis Prime went dark for the first time in 12,000 years. Casualty reports, Alexander asked quietly. None, the tactical officer confirmed. All systems experiencing non-fatal failures only. It's exactly what we modeled. Orla watched the chaos unfold across the displays. Within hours, the Council would restore their systems. They were too advanced for the Cascade Protocol to cause permanent damage. But the message was sent. Humanity was not helpless. They were not primitive. They were not to be dismissed. The response came 6 hours later. Ambassador Cathrell's transmission carried a tone Orla had never heard before. One, the translation algorithms struggled to classify before settling on grudging respect. The Galactic Council acknowledges humanity's demonstration. The Zalthine blockade has been ordered to withdraw. Humanitarian corridors are approved. The Council requests immediate negotiations regarding humanity's status within the Covenant framework. Alexander turned to Orla. We did it. They're actually taking us seriously. For now, Orla replied, watching the Council delegates scramble to restore their networks. We've bought ourselves time. Maybe a generation, maybe more, but we've also made enemies. Then we'd better use that time wisely, Alexander said, because the next time we meet the Council, we won't have surprise on our side. Orla nodded, her reflection sharp in the darkened viewport. Outside, Earth turned peacefully below them, unaware of how close they had come to annihilation and how spectacularly humanity had refused to go quietly into extinction. The Galactic Council had believed humanity's threats were empty posturing from an upstart species. They had learned differently. In the cold calculus of interstellar politics, humanity had just changed the equation. And the galaxy would never see them the same way again.